Hello, hello, everyone. Give me just 1 second. I'm making sure that everything is good on social media, and then we will get into it for the day. We're going to start by talking about Candyman. I have not seen it, but oh man, I am really, really pumped for that. I mean, that thing looks insane. I mean, like, I think the trailers for that have been around for a while, but the way that it's starting out, like, whenever the trailer opens and you've just got the little stick figures or the little paper cutouts going through everything. It is so creepy. That movie looks so cool, but I'm so excited to see it. I'm hoping that I'll be able to see it tomorrow afternoon. But yeah, so let me know if you're excited to see Candyman because I am so pumped for that movie. I think that's going to be so creepy. Jordan Peele's company, which is Monkey Paw, I think is the name of it, is really, really, really sophisticated in terms of the horror that they put out. So I'm excited for that. Okay, but the main story for today is Twitter kind of exploded because of just the regular old toxicity of film Twitter. It spilled over. Some total jackass was saying that for some reason it was something about. Oh, here I can just start off by reading what the tweet was. It said, "Hey, film Twitter. I got a question. We all know that red flag movies, Fight Club, The Joker, etc., that we can all spot on sight. But are there any green flag movies? Movies that you hear someone say that makes you instantly trust or like a person?" Okay, first of all, for everyone out there, if you are actually judging anyone based on an opinion that they have for a movie, let's actually say, look, if you say you don't trust someone, whatever, maybe you're missing out on a cool friendship or maybe low cost stakes. If you're actually going to trust someone because of a movie opinion that they give, that's terrible. That's so that is such a recipe for disaster. But okay, whatever. Um, if you go look back at the weekly movie update that I did for last week, this type of idea, I don't think it makes sense. But last week I talked about how it's strange, and I've been thinking lately about how if you on social media say anything specifically about liking Joker, people come after you. So many people. It's fine if people have a differing opinion from you, of course, but the amount of people that will question your character because of just expressing that you like a certain movie, I have no idea what is that even about. You don't like Joker, and then someone else says that they like it, and whatever. Okay, so last Friday I talked about that, and now 2 days later, someone puts out this thing that's saying that if you like red flag movies and things like Fight Club, Joker, that is an instant reason for a reason you should not trust someone. So that just seems like such a weird idea, but also, what is it exactly that is getting at? What is it that people are saying? I mean, that's the type of thing that I was wondering last week, and then this comes up, and it's just like, so I don't know if it's. I think it is something to do with this anti-hero idea. It just seems like there's a certain type of person that really, and I think this is a group of people that's growing even larger. Um, why is it that if there's a movie about an anti-hero on screen, why is there such a loud, vicious group of people that immediately think that anyone that is drawn to that type of story, anyone that's drawn to that type of character, it has to be looked at with suspicion? I don't get what that means because, and I was thinking about what are other things people might mention with this. American Psycho, The House That Jack Built, Joker, Fight Club, Straw Dogs, Drive. Like these are all movies where the main character is a really terrible person, and they're movies that are widely loved by a large group of people. So for this thing to be trending on Twitter for as long as it was, for people to positively be saying, "Oh my gosh, do you have any idea how frustrating it is that there are people out there that like things like American Psycho, that like things like Fight Club?" And you push anyone on this point online, and they might, get to the point where they're like, "Oh, but it's really about what someone thinks about it," which totally that just throws conversation out the window completely. I don't understand what that means at all. But look, I just hope if there's anyone that watches this that does sympathize with the idea of, oh, these are red flag movies. We're talking about things like Joker, Fight Club, blah, 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 American Psycho, which we are reviewing this weekend on the channel. So subscribe for that analysis, more of a review. But I don't get what it means. I don't get the motivation behind people telling someone else, we can't trust you because we heard that you like this one movie. I like that. And that's the thing. I took it down as a pinned tweet from Twitter saying that I liked Joker because more people all of a sudden out of nowhere were like, they discount your opinion just because you say that that's movie. And again, someone cannot like any of these movies. That's not what it's about. It's about actually telling someone that because they like a movie, you can't trust them. That's just strange. And I don't know. I guess I don't know how you research more about this type thing, but so I've decided from now on the movies that I'm going to be reviewing on 5 Minute Critic, they're going to be more of what these red flag movies are, because I think that there's something about these movies that is more interesting than most, especially I watched American Psycho the other day. Level of interpretations that you can get into with that movie, it's just so sad to discount it as just a stupid movie that no one cares about, because it talks about some very weird things. And I feel like these huge movies that talk about difficult subjects end up coming away with multiple interpretations, and that's fun. And it's becoming popular to dismiss movies like that, to say that they're stupid and that you actually can't trust people that are involved with them. And I don't know what that's a weird level of binary thinking that I just don't get, but it's popular. So for the next few weeks, those are going to be the things that I'm focusing on. Who is? Oh, hello, Bombird to Hobbit. I love this channel. Thank you very much. And you're in a cultural war. I don't know if that's what this is, because it is Twitter. I don't think you should ignore Twitter, but at the same time, if something is very loud on Twitter, it usually spills over into the real world. So yeah, I don't think maybe it is a culture. I don't think it's a cultural war. I think it's just people being very vocal about a very strange opinion. I think if you push it a little bit, talk about movies like this a little bit, things like Joker, American Psycho, movies that make you feel a little uncomfortable like they're supposed to, it can, spark fun conversations. And I think that's more of the hope than anything else. Okay. Moving on now to the story about how theaters are very nervous. So NATO, which is not that NATO, it's the National Association of Theater Owners. They pretty much it's not a union, but just an umbrella organization that kind of organizes and just organizes large and smaller theaters to just kind of give a networking body for everyone. Sets the stage for the industry. So at CinemaCon, the leaders of this organization pretty much were having their annual rallying of the troops. And, normally it's a nothing thing. Like what? How many people do you think really cared about what NATO, the theater organization, was saying 5 years ago? It's like, oh, we're, movies, Marvel, blah, blah, blah. No one cared. But last week it was bleak in the outlook that they gave about the last year. Do you not want to go to the theaters? I think would be the biggest question that comes out of this for the audience. What they opened with was that more than 96% of independently owned and mid-sized theaters lost 70% of their income in the last 18, 19 months. The amount of people, a little over 1 million people, get careers from movie theaters all throughout the ladder of the organization. About 80% of them cut in the last 18 months. Scary stuff. Well, okay. Bombird Hobbit says theaters are dead. I got kicked out because I left my vaccine card at home. Where are you? I would be interesting to know where you're located. I'm in New York City, and I have not been to a theater since they started doing this rule. Yeah, I would be very interested to know where you are and that's happening. I don't know if that's going to happen where I am. I don't know if they're doing that yet. New York City? Interesting. Okay. I'm going to go tomorrow and I'll see what happens. I'm very scared about that rule. I don't know what that's going to do. But the more that, I don't know a lot about restaurants. I don't know a lot about a lot of that stuff, but it seems like it's hurting people already and they aren't even enforcing it yet. So not a fan of that really at all. But what they said at this convention was that right now the number one enemy, and again, this is for theaters, number one enemy is the day and date releases. They're pretty much saying, look, it makes total sense. And in the heights of the pandemic, this is what you had to do. But after a while, if you give the largest amount of people a choice, a lot of people are going to stay home. And I think this is kind of where the rubber meets the road in terms of what's right and what's wrong. Of course, if you give day and day releases, then it is not going to bring in a large crowd of people. I don't think it will, even if they keep this after the pandemic. I think at this point, the conversation needs to be, what responsibility do we have towards theaters? Do we have any responsibility towards theaters? After all, like, if people don't want to go and people would rather stay at home, I love theaters. I love theaters so much. Like I said, I'm really going to go. I'm going to try and see Candyland tomorrow. And if I had the choice between paying $15 to see that in the theater and watching it on my TV for free, I would pay the $15, especially horror movies like that. There is nothing that beats the theater experience, unless you have the money to put a home theater system in your, unless you put the home theater system in your basement or whatever. But I don't know. I don't know what leaves. I don't know what you lose if you get rid of the theaters. I don't know if we're about to lose more theaters, but it also seems very strange to say that, yeah, whose responsibility is it? Because if people aren't going to go to the theaters, if a place like HBO, Netflix, Peacock, which I guess would be more like Universal, if they're putting stuff online and putting stuff for streaming, do they have a responsibility to theaters? Like, I really don't want theaters to go, but it feels more and more that theaters, at the very least, are going to lose like 25% of their revenue going forward, which means they're going to be scaling back. And I just don't know if that's just part of the reality now that they're not going to be around so much. And I really don't know. And Marvel movies are the thing that are keeping theaters going. And now those are going to end up going on Disney Plus for $30. And again, like what? If you have got a family, $30 is nothing compared to putting even just one kid in the car and then getting concessions, waiting in line, being in a crowd of people. Like, you're going to be giving out maybe $80. Okay, maybe $50. And then you're exhausted after that. Why not just, the kid's not even going to pay attention for half of it. Just put it on whenever they're on the couch. $30, who cares? We can go do something else or what? Who? That's the thing. It's convenience. And I think it's a product now that might end up killing theaters. And I don't want that to happen. But then again, I don't know if me not wanting it to happen and a group of people not wanting it to happen is enough to stop it from happening. Bomber says theaters are next, arcade and Blockbuster. I hope not. I don't know if there's a difference between, but I guess, yeah, I mean, arcades, then we got systems for the home in order to play games. Blockbuster, yeah, I mean, there was just another product that came out and beat out what it was doing. Ooh, that's bad phrasing. But I feel like there is still something that theaters offer that streaming at home just can't. But I do think that there's not enough people that are going to stick with theaters to keep it the way it was 2 years ago. I think it's going to be scaled back. And if it does come back the way it was, there's probably going to need some type of a boom, some type of a demand for people coming back. But I don't know. Okay. That being said, for everyone that is excited about theaters, and this is another thing, like, think about, like, not everything is going to be going into theaters. I mean, sorry, not everything is going to be going onto streaming. October 22nd, I think, is going to be the biggest day. October 22nd is going to definitely be the biggest day for, I think, this year in terms of new releases. We've got Dune and The French Dispatch. Both, I think, are really, really, really exciting. Trailers at least look great. The initial responses from people, I mean, you never know if you can trust that or not, but the initial responses from people inside the industry is that they're really, really fun. Maybe Dune isn't fun, but good. I'm really excited about that. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. And Dune, right now, there's a fight with creatives in the studio. Denis Villeneuve, the director, Christopher Nolan, obviously. There's the energy of like the writers' strike that was happening in the late 2000s, like nearing 2010, wherever. I'm sorry, I'm just looking at these comments. Is Dune really coming to the New York Film Festival? I am debating whether or not I should put the money out to go and see the new Coen. Well, I guess just Joel Coen, not Coen Brother movie. That would be a lot of fun. And yeah, the problem is theaters are candy and popcorn salesmen. They need to change the pay structure. That is totally correct. I mean, the amount, that is like the number one complaint. That's always been the complaint for the last decade, how expensive the concessions are. They don't really have a say in terms of the movies at all. And now it's a little bit sad that they're actually looking to studios and it's like, hey, the movies are really the thing that we care about all the time. When I was like, meh. Titan as well. Wow, that is incredible. I might end up putting out the $1,000 to get the pass to go to the New York Film Festival. But then I think that the positive thing for theaters, and again, this might just speak to a smaller crowd, Dune is going to go on HBO Max. I do think there will be like an internal a civil war going on for people that are the creatives saying, look, we're not going to do this. We're either going to jump ship, go to Netflix. And then at that point, Netflix has its own structure. But I think there might be some backlash that the creatives can give the studios, but who knows how that's going to play out. Maybe that happens. Maybe that doesn't happen. But French Dispatch is one that will be in theaters. So you'll have to go to a theater if you want to see that. But also, I don't know. I mean, Wes Anderson has got a good, strong following, but it's not enough that's really going to bring theaters roaring back. And then for Dune, I really hope that makes enough money to get a sequel, but that's probably just going to be, it could do really well on streaming, and people might just watch it on streaming. But I hope that one at least is well enough to get a second. Then the Scarlett Johansson lawsuit. This is getting really weird. So obviously everything that coming out through the lawsuit and the news articles is not what Scarlett Johansson's saying or what Disney's saying, really. It's what the lawyers are saying. So the last thing that they said is that this is a misogynistic attack on Scarlett Johansson, which that was on IndieWire, and Hollywood Reporter ran that as the titles, which is really it's funny when you read the article, because when you look through it, I mean, Scarlett Johansson is not going to win at all. And if you actually look at what they're saying, there's no way that she can win. Because in the contract it said that the studio, well, she's saying her box off her paycheck was significantly lower than it would have been because of the pandemic and because they didn't go wide release, which is what they said they were going to do. They scaled it back. I mean, the contract she signed said that they would do a wide release, and that wide release meant 1,500 theaters, which they did. So I would say if you see anything else about if you see anything else that is not Scarlett Johansson wins lawsuit, that's probably a story that you can ignore and probably very just clickbaity right now. Last thing, the trailer for Spencer came out. Let me know, comment if you're interested in that. It's interesting now that what is Pablo? I am blanking on the director's name, but he did Jackie. He's doing Spencer now. Very excited for that, really because of the director. Honestly, the character of Princess Diana, I don't see as interesting even in the slightest. But this director is really good. Kristen Stewart's really good. The script I have heard is pretty solid. I feel like stylistically didn't Micah Levy do the score for Jackie? If they are returning for this movie, wow, that would be awesome. I'm excited for Spencer. The character, I never really found all that interesting, but the creative team definitely is. So we'll see how that goes. Thank you very much for everyone that has participated. Bumper, you in particular. And if you are in New York City, we gotta get together. Maybe we'll see each other at the New York Film Festival. So what else? Dune is another Blade Runner 2049. It's gonna flop. Yeah, I mean, it is. There's no way they're gonna make that money back. It's so expensive, and the way that they're gonna need. I would love for it to not flop, but I hope that this is one of those things where Warner Brothers needs credibility, and Warner Brothers, I think, really needs some credibility right now. Hopefully, this is. Have we had a movie that's been in the theaters? It's just been like a critical blockbuster darling, like Tenet wasn't. That was I like Tenet, but that was kind of middle of the road. I hope this could be. We haven't really had a strong critic favorite, and by critic favorite, even one where the audience as well is on board. I hope that this is it. I hope Dune does well, and I hope that even though it is more than likely going to flop, Warner Brothers thinks that it is in their best interest to continue the story. We haven't seen it. We don't know, but I mean, Villeneuve is such a reliable creative. I hope that they keep him happy, at least for a little bit, because they're losing Nolan. But hey, we'll see what happens, and I will keep you informed with what does happen. So if you have enjoyed this, subscribe. Tomorrow we are going to have, well, tomorrow or Sunday, I'll say, there will be a review on the channel of American Psycho. Thank you very much for watching, and be sure to subscribe for future updates on reviews and movie news.